Picture this. It's 1943. A young German soldier, raised on Nazi propaganda, convinced that America is a decadent wasteland of weakness and corruption, finds himself captured on the battlefield. He expects torture, starvation, maybe death, but instead, he's handed a sandwich with real meat, shown clean clothes, and led to a barracks with electric lighting and running water within months. This same soldier is writing letters home, not about American brutality, but begging his family to find a way to emigrate to America after the war. This isn't fiction. This is the shocking, untold story of how 400,000 German prisoners of war discovered something in America that shattered everything they thought they knew about their enemy. What they found was extraordinary, completely opposite to what they expected, so much that many never wanted to leave. Today, you're about to discover the jaw-dropping truth about how America accidentally created its greatest ambassadors from its own prisoners of war. To understand how shocking this story is, we must go back to 1940s Germany. By 1943, the German homeland was starving. Rations were cut so severely. Civilians survived on just 1,500 calories a day. Cities were bombed. Night after night, children ate ersatz bread, made from sawdust and potato peels. Families burned their own furniture just to stay warm, because coal was reserved for the war. Meanwhile, Nazi propaganda painted America as a land of gangsters, racial chaos, and collapse. America seemed too weak and too divided to ever threaten the Reich. Then, something unprecedented happened. With German prisoners of war, America suddenly faced a logistical nightmare. 500,000 enemy prisoners on its own soil. But what followed became a powerful propaganda victory for America. German soldiers saw America not through the lens of Nazi propaganda, but with their own eyes, and what they saw would change them forever. The first shock came the moment they stepped off the transport ships. Heinrich Böll, later a Nobel Prize-winning author, described his first meal as an American POW, white bread, real butter, meat that wasn't horse meat or worse, vegetables that were actually fresh, and coffee, real coffee. Not the chicory substitute we'd been drinking for years. But here's what's truly mind-blowing. American POW camps were required by the Geneva Convention to feed prisoners the same rations as American soldiers. Do you know what that meant? In 1943, German POWs were eating 4,000 calories a day, nearly 3 times what German civilians were getting back home. Helmut Horner, captured at Kasserine Pass, wrote in his diary, "I have gained 30 pounds in 3 months. My family would not recognize me. I look healthier than I did before the war began." The prisoners weren't just well-fed. They were eating better than they ever had in their lives. Fresh milk daily, something most had never tasted. Ice cream. In the mess halls, cigarettes distributed freely. Many had never seen such abundance. But the real psychological break came when they realized this wasn't special treatment. This was just how Americans lived. The guards ate the same food. The local townspeople they could see through the fences were driving cars, wearing clean clothes. Their children looked healthy and well-fed. One prisoner, Wolfgang Dorschner, captured in Italy, wrote to his brother, "Hans, you will not believe this, but the guard dogs here eat meat every day. The guard dogs eat better than we did in the fatherland." This abundance, in the middle of a world war, shattered their first assumption. America wasn't weak or poor. It was unimaginably wealthy if the food shocked them. Witnessing American industrial might completely redefined their understanding of power. Many POW camps were deliberately located near industrial centers the prisoners could see. American factories running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They watched endless trains carrying supplies. They saw the constant stream of new trucks, planes, and equipment being produced. Corporal Fritz Stern, captured at Normandy, described watching a single American factory through the camp fence in one day. "I watched them produce more vehicles than our entire division had when we invaded Poland, and this was just one factory in one small American town." The prisoners began to understand something that even German high command had miscalculated. America wasn't just fighting a war, it was casually outproducing the entire Axis combined, while maintaining a civilian standard of living. that surpassed pre-war Germany. But here's what really broke their minds. The waste. American camps threw away food. That would have fed German families for weeks. Prisoners watched GIs casually discard equipment that German soldiers would have treasured. The abundance was so overwhelming. That waste was routine. Georg Gertner, who later wrote a memoir about his experience, described the moment it hit him. I realized we weren't fighting a country. We were fighting a continent-sized factory that could afford to be generous to its enemies, while simultaneously crushing them. The propaganda had told them America was weak, divided, and struggling. Instead, they were witnessing a nation so powerful it could fight a global war on multiple fronts, while treating its prisoners better than its enemies treated their own people. And this was just the beginning of their transformation. But perhaps the most shocking discovery wasn't material, it was human. Christmas, 1944, in camps across America, something extraordinary happened. American guards and local communities began sending Christmas packages to German POWs, homemade cookies, warm socks, books, even small gifts. Prisoners who had been taught that Americans were heartless enemies found themselves receiving kindness from people they'd been trying to kill just months before. Werner Kritzler, held in Colorado, described Christmas morning. An American grandmother from the nearby town brought us a Christmas cake. She had lost her grandson in the Pacific, yet she looked at us, enemy soldiers, and saw boys far from home at Christmas. I wept that day. For the first time since childhood, the camps organized activities that German soldiers had never experienced. Baseball games between prisoners and guards, educational programs, even talent shows where American soldiers and German POWs performed together. Many camps had German prisoners working alongside American civilians in fields, in local businesses, even helping with community projects. The prisoners began to see American society up close, how Americans treated their elderly, their children, their neighbors. Rudolf Wickard worked on an Iowa farm and wrote, "The American farmer treats his hired help better than German officers treated us. He eats the same food as his workers, works alongside them, asks their opinions. This is not the America we were told about, but the most powerful transformation came through simple conversations. Many American guards were German Americans who spoke German. For the first time, these POWs heard Americans speak about Germany, not with hatred, but with sadness about the war and hope for peace. Captain James Muller, a German-American guard, later recalled, "These weren't monsters. They were young men who'd been fed lies. Once they saw the truth about America, most of them couldn't understand how they'd believed the propaganda. The result? By 1945, many German POWs were actively helping American authorities identify die-hard Nazis among their ranks. They'd become allies, not through force, but through kindness. The final shock was how completely their worldview collapsed and what replaced it. American camps implemented re-education programs, but not through force or propaganda. Instead, they used something far more powerful: truth and choice. Prisoners were given access to uncensored American newspapers, books, movies, and radio programs. For the first time in years, they could hear multiple perspectives and make their own decisions about what to believe. The results were staggering. Surveys conducted in 1945 showed that over 70% of German POWs held favorable views of American democracy by the war's end. More shocking, many no longer wanted to return to Germany. Hans Werner, captured in North Africa, wrote in his final letter from the camp, "America has shown me what Germany could become, not through conquest or racial purity, but through freedom and abundance. I no longer want to be part of the old Germany. I want to help build a new one." Like America, when the war ended and repatriation began, something unprecedented happened. Many POWs refused to leave. They had found something in America that they couldn't imagine finding anywhere else, not just material prosperity, but a society that had treated its enemies with dignity and had given them hope for a different future. The American government eventually had to create special programs to convince POWs to return home, promising that they could apply for immigration later. These men had arrived as Nazi soldiers. They left as American admirers, carrying with them a vision of what their homeland could become. So here's the shocking truth that history forgot. America didn't just defeat Nazi Germany through military might. It conquered the hearts and minds of German soldiers through simple decency, abundance, and freedom. 400,000 German POWs discovered that everything they'd been told about America was a lie instead of weakness. They found strength instead of chaos. They found prosperity instead of cruelty. They found kindness instead of hatred. They found hope. These weren't just prisoners who survived the war. They became some of America's greatest ambassadors, returning to Germany with stories that would help reshape post-war Europe's relationship with America. Many of these former POWs became leaders in building the new democratic Germany they'd seen firsthand what a free society could accomplish. And they were determined to bring those lessons home. The program was so successful that American officials called it accidental propaganda, more effective than any deliberate campaign could have been. Precisely because it wasn't propaganda at all. It was just America being America. But this was only the beginning, because what happened when these transformed POWs returned to a devastated Germany, carrying with them the memory of American abundance and the vision of democratic possibility, changed the entire future of Europe in ways that are still shaping our world today. And that is a story that will shock you even more